Hey everyone, you know, one question I get all the time is what rod you use for a Ned rig, and it's kind of a hard question, frankly, because there's so many different Ned heads out there, and you're throwing different baits on Ned rigs now. When it first started, a Ned rig was one bait, one head. It was a small hook and a little TRD. And that was really all it was when we first knew of the Ned rig, and now this is a baby goat by Z-Man. That's a really good Ned bait. Big TRDs, you know, the bigger one. There's even giant ones. So all over the board, there's a lot of different ways we can fish this system now that we didn't know about just a few years ago. So it kind of complicates the question of what rod to use. This is a G.Loomis NRX Plus Ned Rig Rod, an 821 NRR. So it's a 610 medium light rod. A really good all-around rod for those smaller baits. So we look at the regular Ned rig. It'll work for a big TRD, not on a real heavy head. That kind of overpowers it. So it's a really good for the traditional Ned fisherman, whether it's got a soft enough tip, you can throw the really small hook if you like that, or you can go up to like the Pro Shroomz, which has, I believe they call that a 2/0 hook in it, so it's a heavier wire, bigger hook. You can get away with that kind of stuff with it. Again, it's not on the heavy end of the spectrum, but one rod is not going to cover everything you do for Ned rigging. It's just not going to happen if you want to throw all these different baits we just talked about. But traditional sizes, something in that 6'10", 7-foot, medium light, is really a good universal rod. This is 20-pound Smackdown fluorocarbon by Seaguar, or Braided rather by Seaguar, as a main line. I really like the bright green line. It really helps to know not only when a fish bites a light one in the fall, but to know where your bait is. When you're throwing up under docks and stuff like that, this small braid tends to float on the surface. Wind, whatever it is, it blows, it gets around stuff. You really know where your bait is. You can really tell what's going on a lot better. And you actually can kind of track your cast. It's almost like a tracer seeing that line. It doesn't matter when you have that fluorocarbon up above it. Here I'm using 8-pound Braided fluorocarbon on there by Seaguar, but it doesn't matter when you have the fluorocarbon in front of there. What's 8-10 feet behind it? Frankly, bass aren't smart enough to realize what's way up here. So it doesn't matter, but it helps the fisherman a lot. But back to the rod, anything in those realms is really going to work for it. I think there's times when you get up to those big TRD, throwing like a 1/3 ounce head, you're going to need to go to more of a medium heavy rod, or you throw a power finesse Shroomz with a bigger hook. You might need to do something like that, heavier line when you're fishing around cover. All around though, the NRX Plus Ned Rig Rod is the best rod I've ever thrown for the regular Ned Rig stuff. Vanford 2500 size Shimano reel is what I have on here. I always throw a 2500. There's some guys that like a 4000 because you pick up more line. I like a little bit lighter, smaller reel. I feel like I'm picking up enough line with it, yet it has enough capacity. You can, frankly, bomb a Ned rig a long way. So it has enough capacity that your spool's not getting lower, too. 2500, just good all-around size. Many of the Shimano reels, the Vanford is the newest one out, the smoothest, the best reel out there. But any of those Shimano reels in the 2500 really will do the job. Anyway, that's my setup for a Ned rig. The rod I use, again, anything 6'10", 7-foot, medium light in there for the traditional Ned rig stuff will work for you for sure.